The Bhaktivedanta Thakur was very strong in countering what he saw was an obstacle for the sharing of Krishna Bhakti. And he, regarding, I'll take one more point and then we will open for question and answers. That among the many things that he did was what Bhaktivedanta Thakur had said, that what Bhakti Thakur had said, the Western people, actually in that time, Western meant British. British people are very good. The base in actually the word Western was never used in India. The Gore, the white people, was used. Western is being used now only the last few decades, basically. The white people, basically. So that they were good at management, and Bhaktivedanta Thakur actually took quite a few things from them. So the idea of creating a proper organization for preaching. To some extent, the Ramakrishna Mission adopted that from Protestant Christianity. And Bhaktivedanta Thakur, we adopted something. We need to have an organization if we need to get it. The organization brings it some evil. Generally speaking, there are, if you consider organizational structure, there are three categories. There is hard, medium, and soft. Now, soft means that there is a broad agreement of of whom we worship and what we believe, of worship, if you're talking religion. But with respect to practices and even beliefs to some extent, there's wide variety. There is no one authority who will officially declare that this is right and that is wrong. Gaudiya Vaishnavism was for a long time like this. It was like soft organizational structure. Gaudiya Vaishnavism means what? We worship Lord Chaitanya. We follow Lord Chaitanya and follow his teachings. Now, what exactly are his teachings? What exactly are the practices? So we see Narottam Das Thakur and his Kirtan style was different from the Kirtan style that was developed in other parts of Bengal. Manipuri Vaishnavism was different from Bengali Vaishnavism. So there was always some variety. So that's how the soft organizational structure was what was there in Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And that was what was also there broadly in the Sanatan Dharma. India was too big for any one king or any one Brahmana, any one sadhu, any one Mahanta to officiate and tell everyone this is what is the right thing. But it's a broad understanding of what is right. Now, from this saw, there's at a medium level means that there is one authority for major details. The major details are okay. If this is the thing we practice or this is the thing we practice, what will we be practicing? There's a discussion, and then this is finalized. This is what is to be done. And then if this is one belief, this idea is another idea. And you consult the authority, this is the idea, this is what is accepted. So major details in terms of both beliefs and practices. Generally, any tradition has these two things: what we believe and what we practice. So he, Krishna Thakur, brought Gaudiya Vaishnavism, the soft organizational structure, to the medium organizational structure. Now, the challenge with the medium organizational structure is that there will always be people who are, you can say, from negative perspective, power hungry. From the other perspective, they are overprotective. And whatever be the motivation, that there is a tendency towards controlling too much. And that can come at a positive level because they're protective, but they're overprotective. At a negative level, they are power hungry. So many times, specific like enforcing rules can become a very righteous excuse for the ego to act out. It means this is the rule to be followed, and if anybody is not following this rule, you are condemned. I am actually right and noble and glorious and courageous to condemn you because it's all for your good. and you are so foolish that you don't understand that it's all for your good. But this could be actually done from a very compassionate place by those who are truly evolved. But for those who are not evolved, this can become a very easy excuse for trying to control and belittle and dominate others. So when things start going toward the high organizational level, it can become very easy. That today at a high organizational level means what? That everything is controlled by one central authority. And when this starts happening, then that authority gets very excessive power. And even if that authority is very noble hearted, what about the person going to come after them? Maybe there is one successor who is noble hearted, but there are others who may not be. And others who are desperate for power, they actually be more manipulative and cunning and politicking, and they may actually sideline this noble hearted person, they may gain power. So, Bhaktivedanta Thakur, while he started the organization, he also said that the organization can be like Putana. It can suck out the spiritual substance, just like Putana came between poison Krishna. So actually, the organization structure can be like Putana with poisons. And Prabhupada is also very, very careful about that. At one time, the GBC decided that we'll centralize all the finances of ISKCON. We will have all that money that's collected from all temples will come to one central committee, and that committee will then allot funds to people, different groups of people. Sure, they'll allot. And Prabhupada heard this. Prabhupada became so angry. He just straight sent a letter to all the temple presidents saying that I have suspended the GPC. Until future notice, you consult me for all decisions. But said this centralization business will destroy our movement. So this does not mean a free for all. Prabhupada did not also soft organization structure. Medium. So now what exactly is medium? How much should be controlled? How much should not be controlled? The letters of Prabhupada, where Prabhupada says that the purpose of management is to inspire the serving spirit of the devotees. It is not to take away the autonomy of people. It is to encourage and inspire people. So organization was introduced, like a serious organization structure was introduced within Gaudiya Vaishnavism by the Gaudiya, to the Gaudiya mind. And in some ways, this was to respond to other organizations which are also using that organization structure to spread and when we adopt an organization structure, one extreme is to say that the organization itself is transcendental. Prabhupada said, ISKCON is my body. Prabhupada said, ISKCON is my body, and Prabhupada also taught that we are not our body, that we are souls. So, one organization itself, everything about it is spiritual and nothing can be questioned. That's one extreme when we have organizations. And the other is that it's entirely, everything about it is spiritual. That means nothing is questionable. And that's one extreme to go to. The other is that everything is corrupted. So everybody out here is power hungry, and all the decisions are made simply based on how much money is earned, and there is no spirituality at all. Actually, in between is our own traditions, understanding of Yukta Vairagya. Yukta Vairagya means organization can, to the extent it helps, we use it. When it stops helping, use it. So I'll talk a few words about Srila Prabhupada. How Srila Prabhupada actually preached, what strategies he used. That could be an entirely different course in itself. Because for Prabhupada, it was not just Bengal or India, it was the whole world. But Prabhupada carried on the mission of Bhaktivedanta Thakur and Mahaprabhu in a way like nobody did. Prabhupada was a grahastha for most of his life. Did not live as a sannyasi. Prabhupada worked very hard to try to support his Guru Maharaj's mission by establishing his business. And for his business, he traveled across the length and breadth of India. And it was during those travels in the train that Prabhupada studied Shastra most of the time. And Prabhupada would travel, his travel trunk had more books than clothes or anything else. And he read, he was preparing a lifetime. And when Prabhupada, I talk about three quickly about the three strategies of Prabhupada, and we conclude by that. Professor Bhaktivedanta Thakur was not very particular about the dress, what he wore. And even when he sometimes would wear Western clothes. And when he sent his missionaries to America, he, it was understood that they would all wear Western clothes. And they would wear Western clothes and they would a God that they would consider respected. But Prabhupada consciously chose to wear dhoti kurta. And he inspired others also to wear dhoti kurta, even Westerners to wear. So Bhaktivedanta Thakur asked his disciples to present themselves as the messengers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, presenting his message of love of God. Prabhupada very rarely talked about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhupada focused on using Bhagavad Gita as the basis of his book. Prabhupada focused much more on Krishna than on Mahaprabhu. Prabhupada, he, while he did not get into political nationalism in terms of saying that we should fight for independence or independence is so great. Prabhupada did use cultural nationalism. Many spiritual leaders from India who had gone to the West, and some of them had got sensational success. Some of them had become a part of India's folklore because of the applause and the admiration that they got in American places. But none of them had tried to bring about a cultural change. So they had followers, Americans and those who became their followers, even their disciples that came. But their followers continued to wear Western clothes. Prabhupada's focus was on the cultural nationalistic pride of India. So Prabhupada very consciously not only wore traditional Indian clothes, but also inspired Western people to wear those clothes. And when he came back to India, it was before Prabhupada went to America, Indians were not really taking Prabhupada seriously. Many reasons. He was primarily preaching in English, and those who wanted to follow bhakti, they were sentimental mostly, and they wanted katha, not philosophy. And they were not interested in English. Even now in India, our outreach is much more in national languages. It's growing much more than English. In the 1950s and 1960s and 1940s, when Prabhupada was preaching, how much more difficult it would have been for Prabhupada. So Prabhupada was not successful in India. But even after Prabhupada came back to India in 1970s, we don't see a large number of Prabhupada's disciples who are Indians who got introduced in India. So that didn't happen. Although Prabhupada did from 1970 onwards spend a majority of his time in India. But what did happen was that Prabhupada's strategy of tapping into the cultural nationalistic pride of Indians worked dramatically well. His Guru Maharaj told him to go to the West and preach. Prabhupada fulfilled that instruction. But Prabhupada didn't just want to say, oh, I did what my Guru Maharaj told you to do. Just see what a great disciple I am. Prabhupada was not just interested in following the literal word of his spiritual master. Prabhupada wanted to fulfill the purpose. The first class disciple doesn't just follow the instruction. The first class disciple understands the intent and tries to fulfill the intent. He knew that Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they all wanted a global Krishna consciousness movement which would sustain for many generations. And that's around 1970s. He told his disciples when he had come to India, he said, my Guru wanted me to preach in the West, and I have done that. Now I want to preach in India. Just as I help my Guru Maharaj in fulfilling his desire, you please help me in fulfilling my desire. So now what's Prabhupada's desire different from his Guru Maharaj's desire? No, he wanted to create a foundation in India by which generations of devotees could, wherever they are introduced and where they are practicing, they can come to India and get spiritual enrichment and rejuvenation. And that's Hare Krishna, can you hear me, please?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Somehow my phone has got disconnected. Just give me a minute. So I'll continue till my phone gets connected. So Prabhupada saw that in his time, what was needed was that he, although Indians were not really interested in taking up Gaudiya Vaishnava Bhakti, he wanted to engage them in Bhakti. And thus, Prabhupada's strategy. See, Indians are not interested in their own spiritual tradition, but they're infatuated by the West. Now, not being interested in the Indian spirituality was Maya. Being infatuated by white skin was also Maya. But Prabhupada used one form of Maya to counter another form of Maya. Prabhupada used the infatuation of the white skin to get people to become attracted. And when he made Western people become devotees, that's what was stunning for Indians. And Indians took it up. Not so much in terms of specifically following Prabhupada's teachings, but supporting Prabhupada's organization. And then subsequently, around 1980s, 1985, 1990 onwards, Krishna consciousness started spreading in India. Now India is a powerhouse of the Krishna consciousness movement in terms of number of temples, number of devotees, number of books distributed, the amount of prestige that ISKCON has. Mm. So that legacy that all these acharyas have given, that lives on today. And we, at different places, in different parts of the world, different devotees are facing different challenges. And different devotees are coming up with different initiatives even today to continue on the mission of the great acharyas. Each different devotee preachers are finding out what is the area where we can reach, and then what are the things that we need to do to present. Some devotees are focusing on, say, tribal care. Some devotees are focusing on the self-help and corporate outreach. Some devotees are focusing on yoga. Some devotees are focusing on environment. Some devotees are focusing on Sanskrit study and connecting with the Indian knowledge system. Some devotees are focusing on mindfulness and meditation. And Prabhupada's legacy, the Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharya, with the blessings of all the Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas' blessings, lives on. And each one of us has an opportunity to become an instrument for Krishna and for all of these Acharyas. Everybody wants to have some adventure in their lives. Some people think, okay, I'll climb up a mountain, I will achieve this, I'll do that. The greatest adventure that we all can be a part of is to let ourselves become an instrument in the hands of Krishna and carry on the legacy that we have got through all these great acharyas. If we do that, then we will be amazed. We all can do some good using whatever abilities we have. But if we let ourselves become an instrument of Krishna and acharyas, then how much good Krishna can do through us, discovering that can be our life's greatest adventure. And it is to this adventure that we are all called by the Prabhupada, by Shree Krishna, when he says, Tasmat Uttishta Kaunteya, and Arjuna, arise and fight. Maha Nimitta Matram Bhava, that just become an instrument and fight in my cause. It was that instrument that Srila Prabhupada called, and he said that all of you, please assist me in this mission. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, please distribute the fruits of love of God. So we have an opportunity to become instruments in this glorious cause. I'll summarize what I discussed today. Today we discussed primarily Bhaktivedanta Thakur's legacy and discussed four of the challenges or four of the significant things that he did. One was the challenge with Sahajiyaism and how Sahajiyaism was not just a challenge from outside, but it was not just Tantra challenge, but Tantra had ideally penetrated within Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And it was what was making people think that Gaudiya Vaishnavism is just an excuse for immorality. And then we talked about Mayavad and how it may have arisen out of good intentions, but it started claiming that social service is actually better, not just materially better, but spiritually better than devotional service. And that's why it had to be very strongly critiqued. It was not because it was so wrong, but it was so much likely to lead people wrong. And then we discussed about the independence struggle and how the acharyas focused on spiritual improvement or sharing of a spiritual message much more than material liberation or material improvement. But then we discussed also about the organizational structure, how Bhaktivinoda Thakur used organization to challenge the other groups which were also organized. But at the same time, he gave caution that organizing can be putana. And our approach is Yukta Vairagya. And we discussed especially about Srila Prabhupada using the cultural nationalistic pride. He stayed away from political nationalism, but cultural nationalistic pride. Oh, this is our culture, and these Western people who are dominating and ruling us are adapting our culture. Culture is much more visible than philosophy. So other teachers may have got Western people to adopt their philosophy, but Prabhupada got them to adopt the culture. So that's how he created a sensation, and that legacy continues on even today. And becoming a part of protecting and propagating that legacy can be our life's greatest adventure. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Are there any questions or comments? Why are there different religions? Well, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in Chaitanya Shikshamrit that according to time, place, circumstance, different people have different mentalities, and accordingly,